Morning made everything feel unreal. Mara knew that before she even stepped into the building. The city was bright. Too bright. Sunlight bounced off glass towers like nothing had happened the night before, like no one had nearly unraveled in a fluorescent stairwell. Her reflection in the elevator doors looked composed, hair pinned back, blazer structured, neutral lipstick, all the armor back in place. But her mouth still remembered him. The elevator doors opened. The office floor buzzed with its usual rhythm. Keyboards, quiet laughter, phones ringing, all ordinary. Mara walked to her desk without looking toward the corner office. She lasted exactly 7 seconds. He was already there. Julian stood near the glass wall of his office, speaking with one of the senior analysts. Calm, controlled, immaculate in a navy suit. Engaged. Her stomach tightened. As if sensing it, he looked up. Their eyes met. The world didn't stop. That would have been easier. Instead, it continued. Fluorescent lights humming, printers whirring, while something unspoken detonated in the space between them. Julian didn't smile. He didn't flinch. But something in his gaze sharpened. Recognition, memory, heat. Mara forced herself to look away first. She sat at her desk, heart pounding like she'd run up those stairs again. This is fine, she told herself. This is what adults do. They make mistakes, they correct them, they move forward. Her email notification chimed. She nearly jumped. Subject line, reply, Q4 revisions, sender, Julian Hart. Her pulse stumbled. She opened it. The message was painfully professional. Please see my notes attached. Let's discuss at 11:30. JH. That was it. No trace of last night. No echo of confession. Just structure. Mara swallowed. Fine. She could do professional. At 11:29, she knocked lightly on his office door. Come in, Julian's voice called. It sounded the same, and that annoyed her. She stepped inside, closing the door gently behind her. The room felt smaller than usual. Julian sat at his desk, sleeves crisp again, tie perfectly aligned. His expression was composed, neutral. He gestured toward the chair opposite him. Have a seat. Mara did. He slid a printed report toward her. I made a few margin adjustments, he said evenly. Your projections were solid. Thank you. Silence stretched. He didn't look at her the way he had in the stairwell. He looked at her like an executive reviewing numbers, and somehow that made her even angrier. You're very calm, she said before she could stop herself. Julian's pen paused mid-movement. I'm at work, he replied. Her jaw tightened. Right. Another beat of silence, and then, Are you okay? He asked quietly, not looking up. Mara blinked. Am I okay? Yes. She let out a controlled breath. You're the one who said you were going to end your engagement. Julian's gaze lifted slowly to hers. The temperature in the room shifted. I said I was going to end it, he corrected. I didn't say when. Mara's stomach dropped. And I had a conversation this morning. Her fingers tightened around the edge of the report. And? Julian's gaze held hers. It's complicated. Mara laughed softly, but there was no humor in it. Of course it is. Julian leaned back slightly, lowering his voice. I'm not playing with you. I didn't say you were. You're thinking it. She met his eyes head on. I'm thinking this feels very different in daylight. Julian's jaw flexed. Yes, he said. It does. The air between them thickened. Mara shifted in her seat. So what are we doing? Julian studied her. At the moment, he said evenly, discussing quarterly revisions. Her lips pressed into a line. And after that? His gaze darkened just slightly. After that, he said carefully, we're going to act like adults. Her chest tightened. And pretend? Julian's voice lowered. No. That single word landed hard. Mara swallowed. Then what? Julian stood. The movement was subtle, but it changed the entire power dynamic of the room. He walked around the desk, slowly. He stopped just in front of her chair, not touching, not invading, but close enough that her pulse betrayed her again. You think I slept last night? He asked quietly. Mara's breath caught. No, she admitted. I didn't, he said. Not even a minute. The admission cracked something open again. This isn't a game to me, he continued. I meant what I said. Mara's voice softened despite herself. About ending it? Yes. And? Julian's eyes searched her. And I will. Her breath trembled. But not because of a stairwell kiss, he added. Because it was already broken. The honesty hit harder than she expected. Mara's throat tightened. You're sure? Julian's expression didn't waver. I've been sure for a while. Silence wrapped around them. Professional boundaries dissolved into something quieter, something more dangerous. Mara stood slowly. Now they were eye level. You can't look at me like that in here, she whispered. Like what? Like you're still thinking about last night. Julian's voice dropped to nearly nothing. I am. Heat flared in her chest. Julian, she warned. He leaned slightly closer. Tell me you're not, he murmured. Mara's resolve faltered. I shouldn't be, she said. That's not what I asked. Their breathing had changed. The office noise beyond the glass felt miles away. Don't, she whispered again. Julian stepped back immediately. That restraint, it did more to her than touch. I won't, he said. Not here. The implication hung heavy. Mara's phone buzzed in her hand. She startled. Julian glanced down instinctively. She looked at the screen. Unknown number. Her heart skipped. She opened it. You left your blazer in the stairwell. I have it. Jay. Her pulse spiked. She looked up at him. His expression was neutral. Almost too neutral. You texted me? She said. Julian's gaze flicked briefly to her phone. Yes. You've never texted me before. His mouth curved faintly. I know. Mara's breath thinned. That's a line, she said quietly. Julian's eyes darkened. It is. The first secret. Not an affair. Not yet. But something shared. Something hidden. Her phone buzzed again. I won't use this number unless you want me to. Her stomach flipped. Mara typed before she could overthink it. You already did. She watched his reaction. Julian's jaw tightened slightly. His phone buzzed on the desk. He didn't look at it. Instead, he looked at her. The silence between them felt electric. Her phone buzzed again. I need to know something. She swallowed. What? Julian's voice was low, steady, but charged. Did last night change anything for you? Her heart pounded. She looked at him, really looked at him, at the control barely holding, at the intensity he refused to unleash in this room. She typed slowly. Yes. His breath shifted. What did it change? Mara hesitated. Then, it made pretending impossible. Julian closed his eyes for half a second. When he opened them, the restraint was thinner. Mara. he said softly. Yes. If I walk back around that desk, he warned quietly, it won't be professional. Her pulse thundered. Then don't, she whispered. He didn't move. Neither did she. The tension stretched. Then, a knock at the door. Both of them stepped back instantly. The spell shattered. Come in, Julian said, voice perfectly composed again. The door opened. An assistant stepped in with a question about a meeting. Mara straightened her blazer, heartbeat still racing. Julian answered calmly, controlled, untouched. But when the assistant left and the door closed again, their eyes met. And something had changed. Not explosive, not reckless, but undeniable. Mara moved toward the door. Her hand rested on the handle. She turned slightly. We can't keep doing this, she said quietly. Julian's gaze locked onto hers. We haven't done anything yet, he replied. Her breath trembled. That's what scares me. Julian's voice dropped one last time. I told you, he said. I'm going to do this right. Mara searched his face. And until then? Julian's eyes held hers. Until then, he said carefully, we try not to make it worse. Her phone buzzed again. She didn't look at it, but she knew. She opened the door and stepped back into the noise of the office, her pulse still humming, her phone vibrating in her hand. When she finally glanced down, the message read, This is going to get harder before it gets easier. Mara exhaled slowly, and she typed back, I know. And across the glass wall, Julian watched her read it, watched her answer, watched her not look away this time. The next morning hadn't cooled anything. It had only clarified it. And both of them knew this wasn't over. It was just beginning to cost something.